Hello, everyone, and welcome back to AMC Project Popcorn YouTube channel. My name is Ethan, and today we're publishing the 8th video in two parts. One from paragraph 1 up to 15, the second part from 16 to 22, in the Daniel Meyer Transmittal Affidavit series. In the 7th video of this series, we focused on AMC's market cap, stock price action, ATM offerings, and the major deals that were made in sequence during the height of the meme stock phenomenon. I just want to take a few minutes to review and summarize what I stated in closing in that video. As a result of Adam Aron's ape dividend, stock split, ape dilution, as well as conversion and then more dilution via AMC stock, a lot of people are pushing that the high of $72.62 on June 2nd, 2021 equates now to $726.20. This is no longer factually true. We need to focus on market cap. On the day in question, the market cap was around $36.4 billion. Thus, to equate AMC's current ledger, as of February 18, 2025, there were a little over 431 million shares of Class A common stock issued and outstanding. Thus, in order for the current state of AMC to hit a market cap of $36.4 billion, the following math must be done. So here we have it in Excel. So we have market cap, shares outstanding of AMC through February 2025 and price. So on June 2nd, 2021, the high of the market cap was around 36.4 billion. We know what the current shares are outstanding as of February 2025. And you recall, I think in video series 6 or 7, we told you that the equation to figure out what the market cap is, it's equal to market cap equals shares outstanding times price. If you move shares outstanding to the left, as we did in math, then market cap divided by shares outstanding equals price. And that's what formula we have in C49. It's A49 divided by B49. So basically we have a little over 36.4 billion divided by 431 million. And that gives us an equivalence of $84.26. All right. So in this video, we're picking up where we left off in video 6, where we took a deep dive into the events of April 1st, 2021, and followed the timeline through to the end of May 28th, 2021. In that episode, we analyzed the May 4th and July 29th, 2021 vote data provided by D.F. King and Broadridge, specifically for Proposal 1 to increase the authorized shares of AMC Common A stock by 500 million shares. And then we reviewed AMC CEO Adam Aron's interview with anchorwoman Julie Hyman at Yahoo Finance. We did this to see if Adam Aron once again committed securities fraud. So a few questions. First, is the voting data from D.F. King and Broadridge accurate? Has anyone ever validated it? Second, if the data is accurate, what did it prove? Finally, an amazing AMC shareholder posed a great question in the comments section in video 6. She asked, if the board changed the quorum to 1/3 vote, then doesn't that show that he, Adam Aron, knew they weren't getting the numbers in favor to pass? Am I understanding this correctly? Does everyone watching this video understand this important question posed by this shareholder? If Adam Aron's claim is true during the Yahoo Finance interview that they were winning the vote, why make any changes to lowering the quorum from a majority to 1/3? I direct your attention to video 6 at a timestamp of 17 minutes and 13 seconds to 35 minutes 6 seconds. Also see paragraph 16 in that video. Today's video, we will cover the timeline from May 28, 2021 through June 30th, 2021. So let's begin. First, I want to direct your attention now to AMC's stock price in 2021. So as you recall, or if you did watch the previous videos, we went over AMC's chart for 2020. And just to review quickly, the vertical axis represents price. You got to divide that by 10 as a result of the reverse split conversion in August of 2023. So what reflects 600 is really 60. Then we have the horizontal axis. We have the dates. Then above it, we have volume, or at least in this chart. And then we have candlesticks as opposed to bar. And that's the price action. We have open, high, low, close. So here's January 4th was the first trading day of 2021. You could see the price was gradually moving up a little bit. Then there was a gap up, and that reflects when the AMC stock price gapped up over 300% on January 27th, 2021, which was the genesis of Project Popcorn. It traded $1.2 billion. Now, mind you, Adam Aaron during his monologue said that AMC had 100 million shares outstanding on that day. It's been proven wrong. I think we had over 409 million shares. Look at the previous videos to see how I proved that Adam Aaron lied during his monologues, during his meet and greets. Then we had stock gap down, AMC stock price gap down during when the buy button was taken away. Then it went up a little bit the following day, gapped up the next day, and closed down. And then it traded gradually. Now the key thing I want you to see is what was happening to the share price during ATMs and Wanda liquidating their position. So if you go back to Series 6, if you could download all the information and see how the ATMs were done relative to as we were getting closer to how many shares we could issue, what was happening? Do the bad actors, were they figuring out that there was less shares out there and then they were nervous? How were they going to cover their position? Who's giving them shares? So then we could see from February to May, the stock was trading in a range, never broke 15. But when does it break 15? And this is when I want you to focus your attention, go back to the last video and look at Wanda. And actually I could bring it up. So I'll just quickly do it. Wanda was liquidating their last 30 million stake. That's more than 50% of what they owned. Mind you, they owned 51 million common B. Then it was converted to common A. And they were liquidating their last 30 million shares on May 13th, 14th, 17th, May 17th, May 18th. And then they filed with the SEC that they had a 10,000 share stake left. So let's go back to the chart. And on these days, May 13th, 14th, 17th, and 18th. And then here, they filed and gave the SEC notice that they only had 10,000 shares left. Then what happens? Did institutions go through the SEC filing like, oh shit, there's no more shares, they're done liquidating, where are we going to get shares? And then there was a run up. So let's go back to our notes. So let's go to paragraph 2. So on May 21st, 2021, Wanda filed their Form SC13D/A, amending the statement of beneficial ownership to reflect ownership of only 10,000 shares. So let's go over there. Here you see the title, what it is. You can find it on amctheater.com. It's the SEC filing right here. You can see it. And here's the form, right? And there you see how many shares they owned, what they had left as beneficial shareholders. Now, on May 25th, 2021, AMC stock price finally surged above the $15 level, closing the trading day at 1641. Leading up to this breakthrough from May 1st to May 24th, 2021, AMC stock price traded in a range of $8.93 to $14.67. That means on May 25th, they finally broke out from that range, correlated to finally Wanda liquidating their complete position. Now, on Friday, May 28th, 2021, AMC's common stock opened at $31.81, hit a high of $36.72, and an intraday low of $24.17, and closed at $26.12. So let's look at that at the chart. This is May 28th. Now, you have to understand, there's Memorial Day weekend, and then June 1st, it opens up. So let's see what happens behind the scenes within the next couple of days. So there was a news article with regard to Mudrick. Mudrick was, according to the article, had a naked calls on AMC with a price, $40 was the exercise price. Now, what does it mean to have a naked call? So let's just read the paragraph 6. With AMC's new 52-week high reaching $36.72, just $3.28 away from the 40 mark, Jason Mudrick of Mudrick Capital felt a sense of urgency regarding the naked calls his firm held at 40, which could potentially be exercised. So what's a naked call? Basically, Jason Mudrick, according to the article, sold these options to somebody, and they collected a premium. Now, if someone exercised the 40 strike price, Mudrick was required to produce these shares. So imagine as the price is getting closer to 40, the premiums are going up, and it's getting closer to 40, someone could exercise it. So according to the article, uh, something had to be done. And what is done? Over the Memorial Day weekend on May 29th to 31st, he negotiated a deal with Adam Aaron to purchase 8.5 million shares of AMC stock. And the question is, where did he get that 8.5 million shares of stock? Because if you recall correctly in the previous videos, Adam Aaron told us there were only 43 million shares left to be authorized, and he registered it back in April, and then I think it was completely sold in early May. So where was he getting this 8.5 million shares? Now here's another question. AMC closed at 26.12. Why is Jason Mudrick agreeing to pay a premium $1? So let's read this again. So Jason Mudrick agreed to pay a $1 premium of $27.12 per share for these newly issued shares. This strategic move allowed Mudrick Capital to mitigate the risk associated with their naked calls. So mind you, if this is true, what the article said, if they had naked calls, now they have 8.5 million shares that if anybody exercises it, the calls are called, exercised, he has 8.5 million shares to give it to that person or that institution. So I already read paragraph 8. The question arises, where did these 8.5 million shares come from, considering that according to Adam Aaron, only 43 million shares were left on April 14, 2021, and they were all sold by May 13, 2021. We will address this question shortly. So let's go to the SEC filing, and here you see, you can look at the URL. I highlighted it, and it shows that AMC announced today that it entered into agreement to raise $230.5 million in cash from the sale of equity to Mudrick Capital in exchange for 8.5 million shares of AMC common stock. The equity was raised at a price of approximately $27.12 per share. All right. So on June 1st, 2021, sometime between 6 a.m. Eastern Time and 6:52 a.m. Eastern Time, AMC made an announcement in an SEC filing disclosing that it sold 8.5 million shares of its stock to Mudrick Capital. The shares were sold at a price of $27.12 per share, resulting in a total proceeds of over $230.5 million for AMC. Now, there's also a rumor that he also learned that AMC was planning to float 11.5 million new shares to generate additional cash. So what happens next? Right? So this is June 1st, the SEC filing. He gets, in the early morning, 8.5 million shares. So what does he do with the 8.5 million shares? Then, now mind you, it was Memorial Day weekend, so Monday was closed. It opens up Tuesday, June 1st, the market. Then on Tuesday, June 1st, 2021, when the market opened after the holiday weekend, Jason Mudrick earned a profit of a few $1,000,000 by promptly selling all 8.5 million shares and subsequently publicly stating that AMC shares were overvalued. As Bloomberg pointed out at the time, this was a very unusual move. So let's go to Bloomberg's article. Here it is. Here's the title. You can see June 2nd, 2021 at 12:39 p.m. And here's the statement. Raising cash to an equity sale to a single holder is relatively rare in U.S. markets. Having the holder flip that stock right after buying it is almost unheard of. Usually the buyer is an existing stakeholder trying to send a message of stability to the market. Mudrick's role in AMC's sale bears a passing resemblance to underwriters in a public offering who purchase shares with the specific intent of reselling them to investors. Now, the article also says, but after Jason Mudrick sold the 8.5 million shares, he failed to exit his short position, according to the Wall Street Journal, which cited an unnamed sources. So here's the Wall Street article. I don't have access to Bloomberg anymore, but if someone wants to read it, I could send it. And here's another Wall Street article. And that's going to explain what happened on June 2nd. All right, so he failed to exit his short position. So if the naked call, obviously on June 2nd, we finally traded at 40. So that means his naked calls were exercised. So he had to get shares. Did he go in the market to buy these shares to cover his naked short? So on June 2nd, 2021, AMC common stock opened at 37.52, hit a high of 72.62, which established the high for AMC's meme run, and closed at 62.55. So according to the article, on June 2nd, 2021, Mudrick Capital experienced a 10% decline amidst a surge in AMC stock price. As reported by the Wall Street Journal, Jason Mudrick's fund primarily incurred losses by selling AMC call options at $40 each. As call option prices surged amid frenzied trading in AMC stock, it later resulted in millions of losses for the fund. According to the Wall Street Journal, Jason Mudrick decided to exit the AMC debt and derivative position the next day during internal meetings held on the evening of June 1st. The fund managed to achieve a 5% return on the debt, but factoring in its option trade, it incurred a net loss of approximately 5.4% on AMC. So what happens next? Then the following day, on June 3rd, 2021, sometime between 6 a.m. Eastern Time and 7:17 a.m. Eastern Time, AMC announced that they entered into an equity distribution agreement with B. Riley Securities and Citigroup Global Markets as underwriters to sell up to 11.5 million shares of Class Common A stock from time to time through an ATM offering program. And the SEC filing, AMC updated the risk factor in the supplemental prospectus, cautioning about AMC's market price, trading volume, and extreme volatility, which could cause purchasers to incur substantial losses. AMC said in part. So let's just go to the SEC filing. So here you see AMC. Here's the URL on the SEC filing. Here you can see it says on June 3rd, it entered into the equity distribution with who? Riley and Citigroup. And how many shares? To sell up to 11.5 million shares of common A stock. Now here's the warning that if you want to take the time to read, there was so many red herrings. Caution, watch out, this and that. Right? Now, here's the question. With all these warnings, specifically, it says, we believe that the recent volatility in our current market prices reflect market and trading dynamics unrelated to our underlying business or macro industry fundamentals, and we do not know how long these dynamics will last. So how long did it take AMC to sell all those 11.5 million shares if it was so cautious and it warned everybody? Somehow, even with AMC's updated risk factor section pointing to red flags, approximately 3 hours later, 3 hours it took them, AMC announced it completed the share offering, raising $587 million by selling 11.5 million shares at an average price of approximately $50.85 per share. The question arises, once again, where did they get these 11.5 million shares come from? Considering that, according to Adam Aaron, only 43 million shares were left on April 14, 2021, and they were all sold by May 13, 2021. So on June 3rd, 2021, AMC also filed a preliminary proxy statement with the SEC revealing the intent now to seek approval for a modified version of the May 4, 2021 rejected proposal, this time contemplating a smaller increase in the number of common stock shares authorized by the certificate by 25 million shares to a total of 549 million shares, effective January 1st, 2022. So what they did is, instead of asking for 500 million shares to be increased by 500 million, now they're trying to get 25. Now this was done immediately once they got rid of the 11.5 million and the 8.5 million. Now finally, just the last paragraph for this part, on June 3rd, 2021, AMC had only, once again, 46,124 remaining shares of Class A common stock available for issuance. We'll pick up part 2. Hopefully it'll be put together later this week. Hopefully you enjoyed part 1 and you're learning. We're soon going to get close to more exhibits and focus on the elements of the scheme called Project Popcorn. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed this content, please share the videos so more people, specifically those who were in echo chambers during space calls on Twitter, will learn the truth, because the modus operandi that they had was to defame us objectors, those who were trying to disseminate the Daniel Myers affidavit to show what truly happened and how we procured the documents during discovery. And once again, as we get further into videos, you will see more culpable AMC videos, internal emails. So thank you for subscribing and listening. Part 2 will hopefully be published sometime this week. Have a good night.